You walk into a grocery store and right there on the shelf, you've got cow's milk, goat's milk, even oat milk and almond milk. But have you ever seen donkey milk sitting next to them? Probably not. And that's strange because donkeys have been living alongside humans for over 5,000 years. So why did we choose to drink milk from cows, goats, and sheep, but almost completely ignored the donkey? The answer takes us back thousands of years, and it's a lot more interesting than you'd expect. The ancient relationship with donkeys. Let's rewind the clock. Around 5,000 to 6,000 years ago, in regions like Egypt and the Horn of Africa, ancient humans domesticated the wild donkey. But here's the key detail. They weren't domesticated for milk. They were domesticated for work. Donkeys were strong, stubborn, and incredibly good at carrying heavy loads across rough terrain, deserts, mountains, and dry lands where other animals would struggle. Ancient traders relied on donkeys to move goods across long distances. Farmers used them to plow fields and carry water. In short, donkeys became the trucks of the ancient world. Compare that to cows, goats, and sheep. These animals were domesticated primarily for food, meat, and yes, milk. From the very beginning, humans bred and raised them with dairy production in mind. Donkeys, on the other hand, were bred for strength and endurance, not milk output. This one difference, the original purpose behind domestication, set the stage for everything that followed. The biology problem. Now here's where it gets scientific. Even if ancient humans wanted to drink donkey milk regularly, there was a massive biological obstacle in their way. Donkeys simply don't produce much milk. A dairy cow today can produce anywhere from 20 to 30 liters of milk per day. A donkey? On average, less than 1 to 2 liters per day. That's a huge difference. To collect even a small amount of usable donkey milk, you'd need to milk several donkeys multiple times a day, just to get what one cow gives you in a single milking session. On top of that, donkeys are seasonal breeders and have long gestation periods, about 12 months compared to a cow's 9 months. This means a donkey's milk supply isn't as consistent or reliable throughout the year. For ancient farming communities who needed steady, dependable food sources to survive, this made donkey milk impractical on a large scale. There's another factor too. Donkey mares are known to be quite protective of their foals and can be difficult to milk without the foal present, unlike cows and goats, which were bred over generations to be calmer and easier to handle during milking. So even the process of getting donkey milk was harder and more time-consuming. What does donkey milk actually taste like? And is it different? So let's say ancient humans did manage to collect donkey milk. What were they actually getting? Interestingly, donkey milk has a very different nutritional profile compared to cow's milk. It's much lower in fat, sometimes less than 1%, compared to cow's milk, which averages around 3.5%. This makes donkey milk thinner, lighter, and slightly sweeter in taste. In terms of composition, it's actually considered the closest animal milk to human breast milk, especially in terms of lactose and protein structure. Because of this, in some ancient cultures, donkey milk wasn't seen as an everyday drink. It was seen as something closer to medicine. Which brings us to one of history's most famous donkey milk stories, Cleopatra and the legend of donkey milk baths. You've probably heard this one before. Legend says that Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of Egypt, used to bathe in donkey milk to keep her skin soft and youthful. According to ancient historical accounts, she reportedly kept a herd of hundreds of donkeys just to supply enough milk for her daily baths. Whether this legend is 100% historically accurate or partly exaggerated over time, it tells us something important. In ancient Egypt, donkey milk wasn't treated as a basic food staple like cow's milk. It was treated as a luxury, almost a beauty and wellness product, reserved for royalty and the wealthy. This is a completely different cultural role compared to cow, goat, and sheep milk, which were consumed daily by regular families as an essential source of nutrition. Donkey milk stayed rare, expensive, and specialized, never becoming part of the everyday human diet. Why it never became mainstream? So if we put it all together, there are 3 main reasons donkey milk never became a mainstream drink like cow's milk. First, purpose of domestication. Donkeys were bred for labor and transportation, not dairy, so there was never a strong incentive to selectively breed them for higher milk production over thousands of years, the way cows and goats were. Second, low milk yield. Producing donkey milk at scale was simply not efficient. Farmers needed animals that gave large, consistent quantities of milk to feed growing populations, and donkeys couldn't compete with cows in that department. Third, cultural positioning. Once donkey milk became associated with luxury and medicine, like Cleopatra's baths, rather than everyday nutrition, it never had the chance to become a household staple the way cow's milk did. Interestingly, in some parts of the world today, particularly parts of Italy, France, and the Balkans, donkey milk is making a small comeback, marketed as a premium, hypoallergenic alternative to cow's milk, especially for babies and people with milk allergies. But it remains a niche, expensive product, not something you'll find in a regular grocery aisle. So to sum it up, ancient humans didn't avoid donkey milk because it was unsafe or unusual to drink. They avoided it because donkeys were bred for work, not dairy. They produced very little milk compared to cows and goats, and over time, their milk became associated with luxury and medicine rather than daily nutrition. It's a perfect example of how human history, not biology alone, shaped what ended up on our dinner tables and in our glasses. If you found this as surprising as we did, make sure to subscribe to Tales of Sapiens, because every week we uncover strange, untold stories about how ancient humans lived, ate, and survived, things you never knew you were curious about. And let us know in the comments, would you ever try donkey milk? See you in the next story.